Welcome you all to Believers Science Academy. In this today's particular video, especially the topic of the day discussion, we will be discussing an important development considering the India's first bamboo-based bioethanol refinery or a bioethanol plant, which was recently inaugurated or launched in Assam, which makes it absolutely important to study considering all the developments that is happening right now in terms of how India is trying to harness its biofuel, right? So becomes absolutely important, not just because of the nature that it is the first bamboo-based bioethanol plant in India, but this is the first of its kind in the entire world where India is trying to harness the second generation feedstocks in the production of the biofuels. Of course, we will study what the second gen biofeeds or biostocks are, right? The biofeedstocks, and then we will also try and understand India's new move, as in why they had to go for this. Because recently we even made a video on the blending of bioethanol, right? The blending of the ethanol, especially using the sugarcane, right? Especially talking about the E20 fuels, right? So all of these things are pretty much there in the news, and also this becomes absolutely important because it's one of its kind, not just in India but in the world. So what is this topic all about, or the context? It is about a new bamboo based bioethanol plant which has been set up in Assam, and keep in mind it is a joint venture between Numaligarh Refinery Limited and Finland's Fortum and Chempolis OY, right? So it is a joint venture. And what is the aim? To produce bioethanol from bamboo, which supports India's clean energy and biofuel goals. And talking about the relevance as to why this is important, one is because it aligns with the sustainable goals of the country, and also most importantly it aligns with the national policy on biofuels 2018, and it also is a testament, a milestone in India's push for energy security and climate commitments. So even before we try and understand about the newly established bioethanol refinery, let's understand what bioethanol as a fuel is, or let's say how is the production of bioethanol happens. So what is bioethanol? So in simple terms, bioethanol is a fuel or a biofuel which is obtained by the renewable biological sources, or to be even more specific, we can say that the biological production of bioethanol using biofeedstocks, or using all those feedstocks which are either sugar based or starch based, which undergoes the process of fermentation ultimately to get ethanol, right? If I have to put it in a very simple chemical equation, it is nothing but glucose, or the sugar that we are discussing, which undergoes fermentation usually by the help of yeast to ultimately give out, or to get the end product ethanol plus carbon dioxide, right? So in simple terms, it is the process where we generate, or the end product where we produce ethanol, which is a biofuel, using certain biomass, or let's say certain ingredients which are pretty much naturally available, right, and are renewable sources in the form of sugar and starch, to ultimately come to a final product ethanol, whose byproduct is also carbon dioxide. And this ethanol further gets refined and gets used as a biofuel, right? So this is what is important. Now talking about the the different types of feedstocks that gets utilized or gets used in the formation of or in the production of ethanol, there are two important things that you have to keep in mind. So one is we have first gen, or we can even call it as 1G, and then we have the second gen feedstocks. So what are these feedstocks? Basically these are the raw materials that gets used. Basically if I say glucose, right, a lot of things gets used. Glucose in the form of, or let's say glucose or sugar is one and the same. So glucose here can be sugarcane, corn, molasses, right? So these are the products or the glucose that is used as sugar or starch for the production of ethanol. Now in the case of India, where it is blending E20, I think we have pretty much covered this E20 in the recent video that we did. So India is blending E20 petroleum or E20 biofuel using sugarcane, right? Sugarcane as a product, as a biomass to produce ethanol, right? So now that becomes the feedstock for the obtaining of the ethanol. So this feedstocks can be classified into two different categories. One is the first generation feedstocks, another one is the second generation feedstocks. Of course, what are the first generation feedstocks? These are usually sugars or starches. Example, sugarcane, molasses, right? So these are the few examples which are part of the first generation feedstocks. And talking about the second generation feedstocks, these are usually your tree barks, dead grass, right, wheat stubbles. So basically these are all the byproducts, or let's say I can say the waste, not completely the waste, for example all the hay, the straw, right, the dead grass. So these are the second generation feedstocks which does not essentially compete with the food and fuel debate, right? So the agenda is to make sure or to ensure that the fuel that the government or the authorities are using for the production of ethanol doesn't invite the discussion or the debate as to food versus fuel. And that was the reason why recently the government inaugurated or launched this particular project, where for the first time bamboo is used. Bamboo is used as a biomass for the production of ethanol, because bamboo is a second gen feedstock which essentially is available in abundance and obviously does not create a scarcity in the food stock, or let's say would create huge disparity or distortion in the food chain of or let's say the food scarcity or food production. So hence it is considered to be one of the frugal ways or the frugal means as to how the government is going to utilize this technology in order to make sure that the ethanol is being produced by bamboo. And India becomes the first country to harness this second generation feedstocks for the production of ethanol, and hence bamboo stands out. So now moving forward, we'll also try and understand this dimension as well as to why bamboo, like what is the need for bamboo. One is we already discussed, right? Why bamboo? One is the current E20 ethanol blending, whichever is happening, is right now using sugarcane. Sugarcane, which is part of your first gen feedstock, and the more usage of sugarcane, or let's say even for that matter corn, wheat, right, these are all part and parcel of your first gen feedstocks, which ultimately creates scarcity of food. Maybe on the long run there will be a time when there will be a debate versus food versus fuel, right? A choice must be made in using these kind of byproduct, or let's say these kind of biomasses, right? So hence this is one of the reason why bamboo was selected, or let's say bamboo was adopted, because bamboo is part of the second gen feedstocks, right? Next most important thing, considering the abundance of availability of the bamboo. Talking about it, one key important fact to remember that India globally stands as the second largest producer or largest country which houses bamboos after China. China currently stands at first. India with almost 13,000 hectares, right, of bamboo cultivation in India stands as the second largest after China, and harnessing this is absolutely important because all of this either goes wasted or underutilized, right? So hence the usage of bamboo for the creation or the manufacturing of biofuel or bioethanol will ensure that this many or this much huge capacity of bamboo doesn't go wasted, and also this will kind of make sure that it motivates the farmers or people who are pretty much concentrating on or pretty much or the area, especially in India, the northeast, right, all these Manipur, Assam, Nagaland, right, all these areas which are pretty much covered with the bamboo cultivation will be pretty much being benefited with this particular move because of the usage of bamboo. And the third most important thing with respect to bamboo is why bamboo. Now if we have to think about this, another important aspect, yeah, E20 is covered, India being the second largest, that is also done. And the third most important reason, anyway, this is sufficient, we have discussed enough, sufficient, but if I can recall this, we will get back to it, or probably in the slides we will get back to this point. Anyway, I hope this is clear. What is bioethanol? Bioethanol is the process, or let's say the production. It is a biological production of bioethanol using the sugars, or let's say the biomasses which are sugars, to ultimately derive ethanol, which can be further purified and used as a biofuel, right? And why bamboo? That also we have discussed. Now let's go back to the slides. What is bioethanol? Definition: ethanol produced from renewable biological sources. And what is the nature of this bioethanol? It is clear, colorless, biodegradable liquid, burns to form carbon dioxide and water. We studied that using a chemical equation. Feedstock resources. So what are these feedstock resources? As per 2018 biofuel policy, either they are sugar based or starch based. Sugar based, examples: sugarcane, beet, sweet sorghum. Starch based, corn, cassava, rotten potatoes, agro waste, right? And then cellulose based, which is the 2G. Basically these two are your first generation feedstocks, and then we have the 2G, second generation feedstocks, which are also called as cellulosic based. These are bagasse, wood waste, bamboo, crop residues, forest residues, algae, and industrial waste, right? So this much, if you know, more than sufficient. Moving forward, bamboo as a feedstock. Why bamboo? That also we discussed. Because it is a non-food crop, does not threaten the food security as compared to the usage of sugarcane or corn or wheat. And talking about the high lignocellulose content, right? Lignocellulose content basically is very much prevalent in the second generation feedstocks, and it is ideal for second generation biofuel production because of the presence of lignocellulose, which has the tendency to give out more bioethanol, right? And also one of the important reasons, yes, now I remembered as to what is the another important reason why bamboo can be, or why bamboo, or let's say we will discuss in this particular slide itself. One is the biolignocence content available in bamboo is very high, and also naturally bamboo is that plant which generally absorbs more carbon dioxide than any other plants, which makes bamboo a natural carbon sink, right? So this is also another important reason why bamboo is preferred, as compared to other lignocellulose content or lignocellulose materials. And then abundant in Northeast, this is also we discussed, right? It is mostly prevalent or available in Northeast, provides local farmers with economic opportunities, people who now can encash bamboo for its cultivation, because now if this works well, right, bamboo will be utilized or can become a cash crop going forward. Moving on. Plant significance, right? So what is the significance of this biorefinery, right? It has reduced, or it helps in reduces the crude oil imports, right? Why are we blending our petroleums with ethanol now? Recently we have achieved E20, and there is a word that we are planning to blend E27 and then to an extent E100 as well, right? 100% ethanol based petroleums, right? The ultimate reason to reduce the crude oil imports, and it boosts rural income in bamboo rich regions, especially the Northeast, and then it demonstrates India's commitment to sustainable alternatives, right? As we discussed, bioethanol, the very nature of biofuel or bioethanol is that these are made from renewable natural biological sources, right? So makes it very evident that it will help India push or showcase its commitment to sustainable alternatives. Going forward, what are the applications of this bioethanol? One is in the energy sector, blending with E20, or let's say the petroleum, E10, E20, and future it can even go till E100. And also it has many applications in the industrial use as well, starting from the chemical industries, even the pharmaceuticals, even personal care, and also bioplastic, other bio-based materials. More of these things have been discussed earlier when we did the E20, the ethanol blending video. Maybe you can check them in the playlist of our topic of the day video playlist. You can check the video. So I think this is more than sufficient to discuss here. Now moving forward, what are the advantages of this bioethanol? That is pretty evident, and it is self-explanatory. One is renewable and biodegradable. It reduces greenhouse gas emissions compared to fossil fuels. It improves air quality, lower particulate, because few of the studies have shown that although burning of these bioethanols, or let's say the biomasses, especially of these kind, especially sugarcane or even bamboo, right, stubbles, it won't create problem like how it would used to create conventionally when stubble burning used to happen, right? So it improves air quality as compared to other means when we used to combust it, because of the low particulate and carbon monoxide content in them. And then it reduces dependence on crude oil imports, and lastly it supports farmers and rural economy through biomass collection. In the end, we will solve one prelims question. This is more than sufficient. We have understood what bioethanol is, right? And we also understood that why bamboo is preferred as one of the new biomass, or let's say a new feedstock in the production of bioethanol, right? That is also very clear. And we also understood that India is the first country to be using the second generation, or it is like a testament, it is kind of like a milestone achievement for India, where it is showcasing the entire world in harnessing the second generation feedstocks as well, right? So we have understood all of it. We have understood the benefits of bioethanol, applications of it. So this is more than sufficient to understand from this particular topic. And before we end the video, let's solve one prelims question. With reference to bioethanol in India, consider the following statements. Bamboo can be used as feedstock for producing bioethanol. Bioethanol can only be produced from sugar and starch containing crops. Bioethanol is biodegradable and can be blended with petrol. Which of the statements are correct? Use your comment section to let us know what the right answer is. Anyway, that's all for this particular video. Signing off, this is Madan Gopal. Have a beautiful day.